I know in this Abuja, in Gwagwalada Area Council, I know that there are places where people have wanted to build roads, accessible roads for women, for girls to go to school, for people to do their businesses. And then we hear, let me say it's a rumor that they said, no, your life is threatened. If you repair this road, you are in trouble. Wow. So the road should be where it is.
The program is Changemakers Circle on Click Naija online channel. My name is Ene Oshaba, and today we are talking about community development and empowerment, the roles and the contributions of civil society organizations in advancing community development and empowerment in our society. Changemakers Circle is coming to you in collaboration with Skill Hub Consulting, an organization dedicated to improving the performance of development practitioners and organizations to reach their full potentials in changing our world for the better. Skill Hub Consulting. Today, I have someone who has spent so many years as a development journalist. She is an award-winning journalist who is focused in the development sector with a drive for positive change. I'm talking about Ene Oshaba.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you with us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to be speaking with you because I believe you're going to bring your wealth of knowledge, to this issue. We're talking about the contributions of CSOs, civil society organizations, in development of our communities, in community empowerment. In fact, specifically grassroots development. So what has your experience been like? You've been reporting on development issues.
Yes, I have. And I would say thank you very much once again for this opportunity. I would say that reporting development in the communities is such an eye-opener to the stark realities of, underdevelopment that happens at our grassroots levels. So many times we stay at the city centers and we think everything is all good, it's rosy. We have good roads, we have electricity, and we have water. But at the grassroots level, you find out that most of these things that we think shouldn't be a problem in the 21st century is still a very big problem, where you see girls have to trek long distances to school, no safety. Some of them, because of maybe sanitation or hygiene issues, they get to miss school so many times. They are not safe when they are going to school, and some of the girls, for fear of being raped and stuff like that, sometimes they are discouraged from going to school. You have so many women still battling with diseases from not having pipe-borne water. They cannot take their produces to the city centers where they can have easy access to buyers and patronizers because there are no good roads. So working in the communities has been something that, for me personally, I would say it makes me to appreciate life more, knowing that the opportunities that you have, that you can access easily, these opportunities are not available to a huge number of persons, particularly women, and most importantly girls who are still growing up. So I can't imagine just being in that situation, and I think that a lot needs to be done to bring the community at par to the city centers, because everybody cannot be in the city centers. If we take development down to the communities, a lot of things will work better.
Okay. Now we have so many interventions by CSOs going on in the grassroots.
Yeah.
And there's also this belief that, many of them are just putting up a face. Many of them are just trying to show. It's more of a show than it is reality. Do we have as much genuine, from your experience, as much genuine CSOs really doing the work as we have them coming up to show up and say, oh, we are doing this and we are doing that?
That's a very good question. For me, my response would be, while it may seem that this work is not genuine, I would say that CSOs have really done a lot when it comes to advocacy, enlightenment, creating awareness and sensitizing communities on social issues, economic issues, education, health, and a whole lot. So, one belief system we have is that we always want to, gain financial benefits, want to attach financial benefits to everything. So sometimes when CSOs go to the grassroots and they are doing their research, they are finding out that, okay, this community is lacking in this area. And first of all, you have to even sensitize them on what is the global standards are, so that they'll be able to know how to even fight for their rights in those areas. But one challenge I know that community CSOs have faced going down to the communities to carry out some of these sensitization programs is that when you go there, they believe you are coming with money. Because of course we know how politics run in our nation. So when anybody is coming for any intervention, okay, you have collected money from funders somewhere, so you want to come and use us to make money. So instead of them to listen to your message and be able to grab what you are able to tell them so that they can fight for their future, they are looking for the immediate benefits. And that's why sometimes the problems keep lasting for a very long time. So it is majorly the fact that people don't believe that these things are for real, and sometimes because they are so used to this other way of living, when you're bringing this new, the ideal way of living, they believe that you are bringing something alien to them, so they are kind of resistant to it.
Like you rightly, talked about or started to talk about some of the things that may stand in the way of CSOs trying to carry out their jobs in the grassroots. What are some of the most prevalent problems that CSOs face in trying to carry out grassroots interventions?
I think if I want to mention a problem, now everybody will know the first thing I will mention is funding. Because it takes a lot to actually, carry out all of these interventions at grassroots level, because, you have so many things to spend on logistics and all of that. So funding is one of the challenges, and then bureaucratic hurdles, where you see communities that have representatives and they collect their allocations, and they don't want to use it for what it is meant for, and then they don't even want anybody to go open up those communities' eyes to what is their right, what's due them, right? So they just keep these people, and I've had cases where some CSOs go to some communities and then they are asked to just leave the issues the way they are. I know in this Abuja, in Gwagwalada Area Council, I know that there are places where people have wanted to build roads, accessible roads for women, for girls to go to school, for people to do their businesses. And then we hear, let me say it's a rumor, that they said, no, your life is threatened. If you repair this road, you are in trouble. Wow. So the road should be where it is, because they are using it to achieve a political aim, which I don't even understand.
Yeah, but it's possible it's a political aim, but usually the undertone to this is finance. There is money going somewhere. Yeah. That is why. So these are some of these are some of the challenges that CSOs face. And then I was discussing with my colleague the other day that there's a popular story that sometimes when you think that because of you're a professional and you know that, okay, you are going to this community, they don't have water, you see girls struggling, going to fetch water for hours, they'll get tired before going to school. So you thought that, no, this community, they actually really needed water. And then you now source for funding, you have done your background checks, and you are really sure that they needed water. So you went to this community and you built water, you provided water for them. And then the result, the backlash is that the women are not happy with you, because some communities have said that their problem is not really lack of water, because that time they are going out to fetch water is the time the women use in bonding.
And some of them said because they live in matchbox houses, they don't have the kind of spaces that we have in the city centers. So by the time they send their kids to go fetch water, that is when the husband and the wife will have time for themselves.
Okay.
So it has become a challenge that even when you think that you have done your background check, you have done your research, and you thought that this is actually what they need, which is actually a need, because you see them suffering. You see girls missing out in schools. You see women going to their businesses, the areas of their businesses very late and missing out on the contributions or the sales that they are supposed to make because they have spent so much time trying to get water. But at the end of the day, I think it was resolved that you need to really ask them what they want. So at the end of the day, you are not providing a need that is not need in the actual sense of it to these people.
It's interesting because these are classical examples of other kinds of, you know, barriers and problems that are not just maybe financial or political.
Yes.
Because then you have the cultural, you have the social part of it, especially the socialization aspect. Like these examples you just gave now are really, really social related, where they are bothered about, you know, meeting up with their peers or the love of their life.
Yes. Also, patriarchal problems and challenges where they feel that, oh no, you are coming to enlighten our women. We don't want them. We like them the way they are. Yeah. So you are coming to now make them to become rebellious. So that's another challenge.
I mean, but usually most of the interventions or all the interventions are not just for the women.
Yeah. You know, maybe because I'm a woman and because most of these issues affect women more. Okay. Maybe that is why I'm tilted towards mentioning women in everything I say. But actually, it's not just women, because like the previous example I gave, the men too were not happy that water was brought to closer to the houses, because that time the children are going out was a good time for them to meet. Wow. So if you can't meet with your wife, and then you know what the results
creates
are,
other tension
and creates other tensions in the house. Okay. So it's not just women based; it's general.
Now, carrying out these interventions in the communities, usually you would leave your comfort zone and your safety zone. What are the risks involved in getting into communities and trying to carry out interventions?
I would say, first of all, leaving your own comfort zone itself, it's a risk. And it's not just going to the communities. You can drive out of your house and we see that people have accidents in the city centers. But because we're basing this on at the community centers, I'll say that for me, from the experiences I've had, I've gone to security-prone areas like the Northeast. I've done a lot of reports in the Northeast, and then I know that, you know, the fear that what if something happens? You are leaving your house, leaving the comfort, leaving your family, leaving your loved ones behind, and then going to fight for the rights of other people to make them have a meaningful life. Sometimes you begin to question yourself, is this really worth it, or I'm just trying to just work to earn a living? You understand? Because these areas are very, very prone, they are very risky areas to go to. Hostile environments, and then nobody wants to lose their life because they are working. Because going to those areas, I know that there was a time we went to a community. Is it Mongono? I can't remember specifically, but we went to that community. Of course, we went to enlighten them on education and so many other social issues and things we thought that they needed to have more knowledge about. And then when we're going to such areas, we don't go with money, because we know already that they are expecting something from you. So we go with foodstuff. So before we go, we had already arranged all of the foodstuff in different bags, so that by the time we finish our messages, then of course, before we went to such communities, we have facilitators on ground who would, you know, try to get us leads, try to arrange the place. If we're meeting with the community heads or anybody we're meeting with, we already have people who are working in that community, who are respected, who are known, so that it's not like strangers are just coming into the community. So when the community is seeing these people, they welcome us. So when you go to such communities and you finish doing your work, and then it's time for you to share all of these things that you brought, then the numbers you're having on the list will be like triple.
And they keep increasing.
And they keep increasing because once one person gets her own intervention, she goes back to announce to the others. And those who have not heard before, even those who are even adamant to put their names on the list, all of them will come back and they're expecting that they should get something back. And you know how such situations can be. It was very risky. I was in a community one day where these interventions didn't get to everybody. And before we know it, we saw thugs all over the place. They were just threatening us with knife and everything. So it took the intervention of the local chief in that area to just, like they had to just move out of that area with his own vehicle.
Wow.
So it was that risky. It was that risky, and so many other risks that are attached to it. So it's not an easy thing, but I would say I would give it to CSOs because I would want to say that it's really passion that can make somebody to want to leave your comfort zone, to go intervene in an area that is not even in your own community. You understand? So I'll give it to the CSOs. The CSOs are really doing a lot. If I want to say that, and people who have gotten enlightenment on so many issues today, if not for the advocacy from CSOs, I don't think government can go to such hard-rich areas. We all know how it is. So, and that is why you keep hearing that people are saying, government alone cannot do this thing, government cannot do that. But communities are there as intermediaries between the government and the people. The community now are closer to the people than the government because they actually relate to the people directly. They don't need any third person to talk to this. So they come to the community and carry out their intervention. So some of these things are not that easy. They are risky, but for the want of development, for the want of enabling people to live a more dignified life, people just carry out these interventions.
And I know that with the insecurity now, the kidnapping, and then you need to go into those communities. As the person going in there, how do you think they can handle that?
I know that these issues occur, but they just try to find a way around, depriving themselves of some other areas where the funding is needed, and then trying to cover these areas because they know that they are very, very important. You understand? Even most recently, because of the dollar increase and so many other emerging issues, sometimes you get a funding to do a particular project, and at the end of the day, by the time you do your background check and you do your cost and everything, you are running into more expenses, and you can't go back to funders immediately and say we can't carry out this project. You understand? So you just need to find a way around it. Sometimes they even have to spend their own personal money, and these are things that they do behind the scenes that people don't know. That is why I said earlier that I need to give kudos to civil society organizations because they have really, really done a lot in bringing us down to bringing us up to this level we are today in Nigeria. Though it may seem that nothing is really working, but it's not like people are not aware. We're not where we want to be, but we're definitely not where we used to be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What landmark contribution can we remember now or lay our hands on to say these are the things that CSOs have influenced positively in terms of policy, in terms of laws, in terms of how we live, in terms of even beliefs? I know it has happened in different parts of the country that we can remember or that you can share with us.
There are so many of them, so many that we can't. If we want to mention every of them, of those this program will take all the time. But just to say a few, I would say education interventions has been something worth the while in Nigeria. We all know the story of how it was before that. Okay, she's a girl. I'm sorry, I'm tilting it towards the girl, child, and women.
Yeah,
this
well,
time around,
is what it is.
It is what it is. So we all know before they will say, no, okay, the girl will get married and she will go to her husband's house, so we can't spend our money training a girl child so that another man will come and benefit. So they are not checking the benefits for the girl child personally. Like a girl child who is educated knows that she's empowered, she's more enlightened, she can raise better children, she can take care of her needs and not have the notion that it must be a man that will pay my bills, because that is where domestic violence have erupted from. So girl child education has been one of the interventions that CSOs have pushed forward, and it is really working. Even in the reserved areas, in the northern areas where it is most practiced that girls should just get married. I think the federal government pegged marriage at 18 at one time because child marriage was becoming very rampant. A girl child who should be in the school is not in the school. She's actually being prepared to just get married, and sometimes not just getting married to the love of their lives. They are just meant to just marry an available man who just comes to them, and the age doesn't matter, and all of those things. So interventions from CSOs have really helped. Sensitization and awareness creation has really helped, and even the girl children themselves are beginning to see the importance of saying, no, I want to go to school. So we see some of them revolting when they want to marry them off. We have heard stories of young girls who have stabbed their spouses because they were angry. Why did you give me out in marriage? So it's because they are beginning to understand the benefits of education against all odds. So education is one of those. Healthcare is one of those where we hear cases where they'll say, okay, no, my wife is my wife. I don't want anybody to see her body. So you have a woman in a dire health needs situation, and then she can't access healthcare because she doesn't have the approval of her spouse. This is talking about my health, and I need approval from my spouse before I can access healthcare. So it's very laughable.
On your own body.
Yes, but because CSOs have pushed forward these advocacies, and they have begun to tell, in fact, the advocacy has gotten to a point where we should give women the right to choice. You know, they should have the right to the choices of their bodily autonomy. So we have gotten to that point. I'll tell you that CSOs are really doing a lot. There are so many other interventions that CSOs have pushed forward, and it's really working out in Nigeria. Most recently, was it on yesterday or the day before yesterday, I heard at that the federal government has already passed the bill to allow local governments autonomy. This has been lagging for a very long time, and we believe that when local governments have the autonomy, more development will come to the grassroots. So away from women and girls issue, this is affecting everybody, and this bill has just been passed, and we're hoping that the government is now very closer to the people, so we should be seeing more of education interventions, healthcare, good roads, electricity, water, and all whatnot. So the interventions are many, so many things that CSOs have done that have enlightened people, that have brought to the limelight that was not in the limelight. Before, you won't see any woman saying she wants to join politics, because once you are a politician, you are just tagged a prostitute. But today we see even young girls, even at the university levels now, we are seeing that young girls are becoming SUG presidents.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on, even in the secondary schools and even primary schools now, you know, they're introducing them to the political way of...
My children's school actually carry out campaigns whenever they want to do their just school elections.
Exactly.
And then you see these children, my daughter will come to the house, she's looking, reading, trying to know when she wants to be her manifestos and all of that. So it's the awareness. Oh no, we have to give it to CSOs. We cannot overemphasize their contributions to, you know, and pushing people towards understanding what development is, and also demanding for their rights.
Okay, just as we wrap up, I mean, you've said so much.
Thank you.
Is there need for policy changes to enable the works of CSOs, or is this more of an issue of an enabling environment for them? Is there a policy, are the policies that enables the work of CSOs sufficient, adequate, or is there a limitation?
I think the 2 points you raised are both needed.
Okay.
We need policies and we need an enabling environment, because what is a policy if it's not implemented, right? So we need these policies to be created so that people will not just think that CSOs just came out of the blues and they're trying to take over everything and then giving people directives and doing what they like, right? So there should be policies that should be guiding this. And besides, you know that human beings are what they are. If there are no laws guiding us, you know what it can result to. So policies are needed so that people can be able to know where their boundaries are, can be able to know the things, the scope they are even. So because sometimes we may think that we have done a lot, but when you check the policy, it's even broader. but we don't know about it. So these things guides us, and then we also need the enabling environment so that we'll be able to carry out some of these issues that's why. Because if the government give policies and say, okay, NGOs can do this, I want to use the word I know during my college days, when we do social studies, and they say that there are pressure groups. So if there are no laws guiding pressure groups and they come out and maybe somebody just opens fire on them, you can't blame anybody, but there are laws. So everybody knows where their boundaries are, everybody knows what they can do. And because there are laws, you know that this is what you should do, and you should also not take the law into your hands, because you know that there are rules and regulations guiding you. So both of them, I would say, is very important if we must achieve our desired aim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome speaking with you today on Changemakers Circle, and I've been speaking with Ene Oshaba, an award-winning development journalist with a drive for positive change, and I'm sure she has really brought a whole lot of positive perspective to us today. And your mind or your perspective of the entire works of CSOs in terms of grassroots development is enlightened. It's been awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Changemakers Circle is coming to you in collaboration with Skill Hub Consulting, an organization dedicated to improving the performance of development practitioners and organizations to reach their full potentials in changing our world for the better. Skill Hub Consulting.